Hello and welcome everyone to the IA Racing Stock Car Association Tucson Sound Art Cup and Super Cup Series as we take another swing at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Definitely excited to see the Magic Mile on display once again this week, and man, we have definitely seen a lot of it so far, and it's been very good to watch. I mean, these guys have definitely been, especially on Thursday, had some very exciting racing for sure. As we're set to do 151 laps here tonight for the Cheerwine 151. Of course, I do believe, looking at the race facts here tonight, the stages will be on lap 30 and 65. Of course, ending the race at 151. 5 tire sets in the race here tonight. 4 actually going to be in the pits. Fuel window is 66 laps. So definitely going to probably end up having to have some green flag pit stops here at the end of this race. Maybe not if a caution does break up the minutia here, I guess you could say. As always, joining the booth by Mr. Big Al. How are you doing this evening, my friend?
Hey, doing pretty good, Brian. Just excited to be here at New Hampshire again. We were here on Thursday night, like you previously indicated, and that was a little bit of a doozy. So tonight looks like a smaller field. This one might just be a little bit arduous.
Yeah, for sure. Probably a little bit more low key tonight. I think hopefully we won't see as many. We won't see that many cautions here tonight. A lot of fast drivers, probably guys that did participate in that Thursday series, probably going to have somewhat of an advantage here. Took something from that and hopefully put it towards this and have learned something here at the Magic Mile, New Hampshire. Qualifying now is getting started here. Let's take a quick look at the point situation here coming into tonight's race. And there we have it. Brian Johnson, our points leader with 1 win in the Cup Series points. Jose Acosta, also a second place right now. He does not have a win, but he's been getting some very consistent finishes. He's only 13 points behind Brian Johnson. Chris Severa has 1 win. He's in third. Kenny Powell also has gotten a win. He actually won his first race of the season, I do believe, last week there at trying to think of my brain shut off where that exactly was. Atlanta, my fault. He's right now sitting in fourth place. Gary Adamson's in fifth. Robert Pattengale sitting in sixth place. Darren Mullins in seventh. Paul Olson, eighth place. Al Kozlowski's in ninth. And 10th place, Matt DeCiani. He's got a win also, or I'm sorry, a top 5 here. But definitely it's pretty close points wise here. Could see a lot of guys moving up and down this standings here. And looking at the Super Cup Series standings, that is kind of, as we always say, kind of follows the whole kind of NASCAR season. Chris Vera has 6 wins, the most out of everybody. He's the points leader here. Can he make it his seventh here tonight? Kenny Powell sitting in second place with 2 wins. Eric Kling has 3 wins, right, or 2 wins right now. He's in third place. Josh Schaffner has 2 wins. He's in fourth place. Jose Acosta also has 2 wins. He's in fourth place. Fifth place, I'm sorry. Sixth place, Brian Johnson has 1 win. Greg Wachinski sitting in seventh. Eighth place, Ryan Strunk. Ninth place, Al Kozlowski. 10th place, Gary Adamson. And a little bit further down the running order here, Robert Pattengale in 11th. Paul Olson in 12th. Uh, Darren Mullins in 13th. I haven't seen a lot of him out here. Kenny Thompson, I do see he is in the field, so should see him maybe work his way up the point standings here. He's sitting in 14th. Frank Flores is in 15th. 16th, Chris Johnson. 17th on the outside looking in of the playoffs, Brooks Dirting there. Qualifying is underway, of course. We're watching Greg Wachinski. Has not completed a lap yet, but I'm sure is trying to do so. Actually, no, there he goes. Gets a lap in. He is up to second place in the grid right now. Josh Schaffner right now holds the pole. Definitely a very tricky track out here. I mean, seeing a lot of guys getting very loose on the exit of 4. I tell you, I think that's the main place we see a lot of guys have problems. Wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian.
Looks like Josh Schaffner still in control right now with that pole. Only just over, under 2 minutes left here in qualifying. Now Greg Wachinski gets kicked down to third place, and looks like I do believe Kenny Powell moves up to second place. So Kenny Powell probably going to be wanting to get that back-to-back win after that glorious win he got last week at Atlanta, and what an exciting race that was indeed. But this is not going to be an easy track to get that victory at. This is not an easy track anyway. I mean, definitely flat. I think is what I know on Thursday you kind of said the most was probably how flat this racetrack is and how hard it is to get the power down onto the racetrack without getting loose.
Yeah, the big thing is going to be drivers going to have to. It's going to be about throttle control and going through the corners. These guys are going to be shifting here. This is the first time really that these next gen cars are going to get to perform here at this New Hampshire Speedway, and it's the low downforce, high horsepower package does provide a little bit of trickiness though. So hopefully though we'll be able to keep this thing clean and green except for the stages and try to get this thing in the books.
Yeah, that is an interesting point you talk about in the shifting. I mean, I know when we talked, I do believe I think it was Matt DeCiani, Mark Pageant. I know those guys were talking about that they weren't shifting, but they saw a lot of other guys doing that. So kind of interesting to see, who's right, which technique is going to be correct. I mean, I think it's all about your gear ratio. We've seen guys with fifth gear setups, fourth gear setups, and like you said, shifting. So we could see that tonight. I'm definitely curious. But let's go ahead and take a step away, play our national anthem because I know we're soon to be having qualifying wrapping up here.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Drivers, start your engine!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the grid is set for us here tonight. Starting out in first place here, Josh Schaffner. Kenny Powell going to be in second place. Greg Wychinski going to be starting off in third place. Jose Acosta in fourth. Kenny Thompson's going to be in fifth place. John Mullins in sixth place. Brian Johnson going to be in the seventh place. Chris Severa, he was fastest in practice, in eighth place. Paul Olson's going to be rounding out ninth place. 10th place, Derek Jacobs. 11th place is going to be Gary Adamson. 12th place, Ryan Strunk. And rounding out our 13-car field here tonight is, I do believe, Robert Pattengale. So thank you, everybody, for being patient with us here. We'll be getting ready to go green here anytime now. I do believe pace car should be pulling off of the grid. But definitely excited to see what these guys have in store for us. Of course, not a lot of drivers here tonight, but hopefully these guys they still usually find a way to turn the heat up, especially when you got a guy like Chris Severa out there.
Yeah, but is he though?
Is he out there? Is that what?
Yeah, that's my question. I'm not seeing him on the grid.
That's a good point. He has not quite gotten gridded up yet. Looks like maybe he's waiting for the last minute. Maybe he had to run and go take a body break. I sure hope he shows up. I mean, he definitely didn't really qualify. So yeah, hopefully something just didn't come up for him there. I mean, Kenny Powell also slow to grid. Oh no, there he is. He's there now. Should see the pace car be pulling off of pit road any time now, though. They must think that that national anthem takes a little bit longer than it really does here. Taking a little bit on the track facts here. Of course, this is a mile track. A little bit higher than a mile here. 1.03 in Loudon, of course. 83-degree air temp, 115 track temp. So that is quite a little bit higher. I mean, I've seen a lot of 100-degree tracks in the officials, this week. 115 is definitely on the high side. These guys probably going to be feeling a little bit on the slick side, wouldn't you say, Big O?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be hard to keep that heat out of those tires. Once you get these things heated up, definitely going to make the car a little bit more challenging to make that turn here. Sorry, ladies, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a slow start here. Got a little bit of race fatigue as we were calling one last night that went 3 overtimes. And so here we are tonight on a slightly different track, but as I'm looking at the concrete, I'm now starting to remember just how much of a challenge these guys are going to have ahead of them, Brian. The first 2 stages are going to be relatively easy. You know, guys are going to want to go ahead and get that tire data and that fuel consumption data as much as they can. So that's why I think it's going to be key to keep this thing green as long as we can, at least through the first 2 stages. And then with a fuel tank running about 66 laps, that last stage is it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers actually split that up, and then hopefully we'll be able to get in some green flag pit stops. But nonetheless, I think we're going to have some exciting racing here tonight as the lights are off on the pace car. He's going to be dropping down on pit road there, and we will be entering that Geico restart zone. And how about Josh Schaffner with that blistering qualifying time, but still not seeing Chris Severa out there. I did get a message that said he was disqualified. Not sure what that's about.
Really? That is very interesting. Definitely a little bit of a story right there that we had no clue about. I mean, wow. Josh Schaffner, though, out to the lead right now. Kenny Powell is going to be putting a lot of pressure on him. He's on the inside. See Greg Wyszynski also trying to make something happen here. He's being pressured by Jose Acosta. So already some close racing out of the gate here. Side-by-side drag race to the start-finish line between Josh Schaffner and Kenny Powell.
Yeah, we are 2 by 2 here for as much as we can be as we're trying to get these first couple of laps into the books. This field being a little bit smaller than usual there is probably not going to allow for as much exciting racing, but definitely nonetheless, I do believe we're going to get to see green flag racing, hopefully, as we don't really want to tear anything up because we don't have a whole lot of cars to spare.
That we do not, and unlike last night's race, there are no fast pairs here in this series. Of course, we see, I do believe, Ryan Johnson trying to go on the inside of Kenny Thompson back a little bit further back.
Yeah, Brian Johnson actually late to enter into the race there. I don't remember seeing much from him, but Jose Acosta now is going to be pulling up behind Greg Wyszynski there. That's going to put him in 4th place. Jose had a pretty good run last week, if I remember correctly, just not quite able to get that thing home as well as he wanted to. He's got Kenny Thompson close up behind him. He's going to slightly get pushed out by the 4, Brian Johnson. Almost
Ryan Strunk. Yeah, Ryan Strunk almost was able to, the door was kind of open there. He almost went and took it and walk through it. But luckily, that did not happen because I think that would have been a slight miscalculation there on the part of Ryan Strunk. But luckily, he thought a little bit better of it. Josh Schaffner, though, out to now a half a second of a lead. He looks like he has got the car to beat so far here tonight. But, of course, we do have stages, as we mentioned before, on 30 and 65. So these guys are going to have some opportunities to make some changes to those cars, especially, it's hard to know what the race is going to be like, what the actual racetrack is going to be like when it comes time to race. The track is really hot. I would not be surprised to see some guys maybe throwing some tire pressure changes in or something like that.
But I'm going to tell my driver, look, here's the deal. You just run the race. The car's going to change. We don't need to be changing the car because the track's changing with the tire conditions. We're just going to need you to try to figure it out for the first two iterations, because that third run, hopefully they got the car set up for the long run. I think that's going to be the tail of the tail here, so to speak, Brian.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, and one thing about it, those first two stages, I mean, I would want them to be making adjustments, maybe not in the first two stages, but at the conclusion of stage two, that's when my driver needs to tell me exactly what he's feeling, because or telling me the whole way through, me not make changes, I'll just put notes down on what he's thinking, and then maybe put a wholesale change there in at the end of stage two.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 22 of Kenny Thompson now coming alongside Greg Wachinski. This battles for fourth place. Looks like Kenny Thompson is going to go ahead and slide on by as he finds himself into the top five. Now, Greg Wachinski is going to be trying to battle that four-car Brian Johnson, because he has got the 77 of Ryan Strunk coming up the rear. And Strunk's not trying to slow down. He is trying to get his car up into the top five so he can advance as well. And don't forget Mr. John Mullins there with he had a top three finish here I believe last Saturday as well, or at least Thursday.
I know he did very well Thursday. I think we were able to talk to him, and he finished third. I think you're exactly right. John Mullins had a very good day on Thursday. Now, Greg Wachinski's under a lot of fire. And you mentioned Ryan Strunk, wanting to probably get past as soon as possible. I mean, it's so hard to pass here. And the more you're stuck behind someone, the more the guys that are in front are going to start to pull away. And so you almost do get that sense of urgency.
Yeah, we were at North Wilkesboro last night, and this track and that track have a lot of similarities. One being throttle control. Drivers are going to want to start to break into that corner and then start to roll through. But the key is going to be once you actually get back on the gas, you don't want to bobble that thing. And plus, so it's going to be a drag race here as this thing goes on, going into turn one especially. So this track does allow it. It looks like the 43 of Paul Olsen's down on pit road. Not sure what that's about.
Yeah, he is now a lap down, so he must be having some issues. But we do see Kenny Powell. He has really started to catch up here to Josh Schaffner. We saw early, the first 5 or so laps, Schaffner was pulling away. And now it seems like it's trending towards Kenny Powell, where Powell is starting to put a lot of pressure. He's getting bigger in that rearview mirror.
Yeah, it looks like the 43 of Olsen is going to be taking a hiatus from the competition. Guess he's just going to be satisfied with a 12th place finish.
It must have gotten some damage that we just didn't see. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. Because he's not usually a quitter, that's for sure.
Nonetheless, the 17 of Robert Pattengill and the 27 of Derek Jacobs are finding themselves falling back off the pace a little bit. Now, I do remember the 27 of Derek Jacobs really struggled a lot there on Thursday night, where he kept bouncing off the wall a little bit once the field caught up to him. So hopefully he'll actually be able to get a little bit of pace behind him here tonight and have a better performance. I know he'll have a better finish.
Yeah, for sure. Derek Jacobs, I'm actually a friend of his, and me and another buddy, we tried to kind of help him out a little bit and try to get him a little bit of pace, trying to take him around the track and give him some practice. And he said that he was going to practice for the next couple days and then really just get after it, turn hundreds and hundreds of laps. So hopefully he was able to do that. Hopefully he's just taking it a little bit easier right now. Hopefully thinking that maybe these guys up here might cause some issues and he don't want to be involved in it this early. Hopefully that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. His best lap being almost a full second off of the leader's pace. That's just going to probably lead to a long day for that 2-7 crew. But you know what? That's what racing is. You don't come with a winning team every week. The whole point of it is, that's like I said the other night. That's why they call it racing, not winning. The whole point of it is to come out, turn laps, develop your skills and the fundamentals, you know, because racing is an art, it's a craft, and you have to hone your skills on that craft.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, it definitely. I mean, yeah, and hats off to him for even being out here and and being consistent, persistent, determined. A lot of guys we don't see. This is not a lot of people out here in this race here tonight. So I mean, it makes. I think that the people that are showing up, they're going to get a good points day because they showed up.
Yeah, and you and I, we talked about this, and I finally realized that I'm not going to be the next, Dale Earnhardt. So I've kind of just, embraced the fact that I'm better up in the booth than I am down on the track. That's where I'm going to make my money at. So, hey, my hat's off to of those that do.
Derek Jacobs, or I'm sorry, Brian Johnson passing here. Kenny Thompson side by side. That is for the fourth place position here. Brian Johnson looking a lot stronger than he did on Thursday.
Yeah, Thompson's now actually getting, he just got passed by Brian Johnson. But that Brian Johnson had a rocket ship on Thursday as well. Also, we're watching Ryan Strunk now as he is battling alongside the 5 of Greg Wyszynski. Those two doing exactly what they need to be doing in order to make this thing work. Wyszynski's going to kind of go high. I think Strunk's going to maybe dial down on the inside of him. One thing we also talked about, this is a racetrack where a pass doesn't take place in a turn. This you have the court to pass, as we said on Thursday. It actually, sometimes it could take up to 2 laps.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a very good point there. It's very difficult to get the runs off of the corner, and if you're able to rotate well into the corner and then get a good drive off, that's when you're going to be able to make that pass happen. So that's what we're seeing. Ryan Strunk was side by side with Greg Wyszynski, was just not able to get that pass done, unfortunately. And now he's going to be under fire here from John Mullins, it does appear to be so. Gary Adamson not looking too bad either. I mean, he looks like he's just being patient. I think a lot of these guys are just being patient.
Yeah, because if you're patient here
tonight, no! Adamson into the outside wall. Sorry to interrupt you.
Nobody wants that. But if you're patient here tonight, though, it will work out in your favor because, I mean, you're guaranteed good finish position, and that's going to be some valuable points as Wyszynski now comes on the inside of the 22 of Kenny Thompson. These two are still battling for what's going to be 5th place.
Yeah, I think Kenny Thompson, he was really good in the short run, but it looks like as we're going further and further into this run, it seems like he's starting to struggle a little bit more. I mean, last lap he was at 32.308 versus everybody around him's hitting 31, high 31s. So something's going wrong with that car. I think he's going to be needing some major adjustments, or maybe he just burnt the equipment up a little bit too quickly. But we are getting closer and closer to the end of stage 1. I do believe this time by 11 laps remaining.
Yeah, so the key is and we'll talk about this, Brian. You and I talk about this all the time. You have to run your own race. So these guys, with it being such a smaller field, they're getting out there and they're trying to keep up with guys that might be a couple tenths of a second faster than them. And the more you try to keep up with those guys, the further you're going to fall back at the end of the run. You have to conserve your equipment. Now, as the 27, Derek Jacobs finds himself down pit road, but we're telling the drivers that, especially, they're getting that from the crew chief, they're getting it from the spotter. This is one of those things where you have to pace yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like, tire wear is starting to make, its presence known here. Josh Schaffner and Kenny Powell are racing pretty close. They still kind of are, but they have been dropping a lot of pace here. I'll be honest with you. I mean, Jose Acosta has been looking really good. Brian Johnson actually faster than all 3 of these guys up in front of him. Wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe come up here and make his presence known on the podium.
Yeah, you definitely, like I said, drivers are going to be racing their own race out here and just kind of plugging away at it, because once these tires kind of get worn in, that's when you'll actually see that pace actually drop off a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing that, and we saw that on Thursday for sure. So these guys, because this has been so long and green, they're getting that tire data. They're getting all the data they need right now to make some informed decisions about what we need. What, as a car, what do we need? Ryan Strunk's going to be trying to make a pass here on Kenny Thompson. And it looks like he might have that done. Thompson is just struggling here on the long run. I think he came in here with a quick setup in the beginning, but it's just really hurting him right now. And I'd hate to see him in that final stage, how his car's going to be handling when we have to tackle 66 laps.
Yeah, he did really get a lot of practice laps in as well. So, I mean, I'm sure he'll figure it out. It's just a matter of letting that car come to you and running your own race. I'll say it. I'm going to say it 5 more times before this thing is over, especially with this small field. You can't get, that carrot on a stick mentality, so to speak. You can't spend your time trying to chase that guy down in front of you. You got to just watch your own race.
100%, especially at a track like this. I mean, you can't focus on another driver. You have to. I mean, you could use him as a learning tool. I will say that. I mean, I think that's very helpful when you can watch another driver, turning laps around this track. You can figure out where he's weaker and where you're stronger, and maybe even learn, kind of emulate what he's doing. But you definitely want to run your own race. Pay attention to what you're doing, because if you don't, you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah, you got to hit your marks, and the thing is, the track is going to change as the tires wear. So these drivers need to be focusing on that now. They got to be trying to figure out, hey, this car is changing, because the tires are wearing. So where do I need to go? Do I need to back that corner up? Do I need to throttle into this a little sooner? They have to make those adjustments on the fly in order to keep themselves competitive, because it's going to be a long day, and you're not going to get maybe that possibility of having as many cautions that you would if you had a bigger field. So each man is going to have to navigate his own ocean here today, Brian.
They definitely will. And I think that also leads into the, the decision to coming into tonight's race. If seeing how many people were showing up, I think that made the importance of a long run setup even more important. I mean, these guys had to come in here and make that informed decision. Do I want to run a short run setup? Now, if you had a big field and we're probably guaranteed a few more cautions, then yeah, maybe a short run setup would be your beneficial to you. But right here, I am seeing long run all day long. This is what we're going to. I don't think we might even ever have a yellow here tonight. We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Jose Acosta has now found himself up into that podium spot. He's going to be chasing down a 24, Kenny Powell. Now, remember, Powell and Schaffner are teammates, and I'm pretty sure, they have the G&G guys. I'm certain that they've actually put some laps in here together, so they know about where they fit with each other. The delta, though, for Powell is going to be what happens when Acosta catch him, and I do believe that the pit road is closed.
Yeah, I do believe it is. I think we're getting ready to have 2 laps to go here in the stage. Brian Johnson, though, he has been really running down Jose Acosta. Only 6/10 separate those two. So, he was able to move through the field a little bit during this stage. I think he's going to be doing exactly that through the remainder of this race. Just kind of, now that he's starting closer on this next stage, he'll be able to kind of work his way a little bit more forward and maybe work his way up into the top 3, top 2. If I don't know, Kenny Powell is not going to have anything nice to say about that. Of course, they're teammates; they're going to race each other clean. But we know still that teammates still can get into trouble with one another here.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. Also, Robert Pattingill, the end of this stage cannot come soon enough for him, as he is soon to have the leaders coming up in his rearview mirror, and that's probably not going to be able to make him feel too comfortable. But I think he should be able to stave off the 5-0 Josh Schaffner, at least through the end of this stage. But hey, still a lot of racing left to go in this thing.
Very much so here. As Josh Schaffner should be crossing the line anytime here to grab the stage 1 victory. And yeah, you can see Robert Pattingill on your screen there for just a moment. Jose Acosta getting closer and closer to Kenny Powell. Powell does not seem like he's got good short run and mid run pace, but I think longer run, it seems like maybe he burned his equipment up or something here. But looks like he's going to barely hang on to that second place, so hopefully he's going to be able to make some type of adjustments here. And there is the caution. Josh Schaffner, your stage 1 victor. Kenny Powell going to finish in 2nd place. Jose Acosta's in 3rd. Brian Johnson's in 4th. Greg Wachinski 5th. Ryan Strunk in 6th. 7th place Kenny Thompson, I should say. 8th place Gary Adamson. 9th place John Mullins. 10th place Robert Pattingill. And of course Derek Jacobs out of the car and Paul Olson out of the car, 11th and 12th respectively. And we'll go ahead and take a step away here, and when we come back, we could try to talk to Josh Schaffner. What do you think, Al?
Sounds like a plan to me.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here, and I do believe we have a special guest up here in the booth. Our Stage 1 winner, Josh Schaffner. Looking really good out there, man. I mean, what could you tell us about some of the struggles you're having? I mean, I know Kenny was starting to catch you there a little bit on the mid-run, short run, but then you started pulling away. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Kenny pushed me a little harder than I wanted to there. I was just trying to pace myself here. After lap 20, the fall off really starts to kick in, and that's where I feel like I'm probably a little bit better once I get to lap 20. But you just got to take care of the equipment till you get there. But clean air is a big deal too, and hopefully we can keep the Pioneer Chevy Camaro out front all night and take advantage of that clean air.
It does seem like it's a big deal, and surprising, at New Hampshire that it is such a big deal. Especially this being technically kind of a short track. Where do you think it's the biggest deal? You think through the corners, or is it on the straightaway?
Oh, definitely in the corners, especially in the center. Sometimes you got someone in front of you there. It's just really hard to get the car to rotate in the center and point. Where if you can't rotate the center and get the car pointed, then you're not only tight in the center, you're tight off, and eventually that's going to kind of work on your right front and your right rear. But hopefully we can keep it out front and not have to fight that dirty air that everybody else is dealing with.
Oh, we definitely wish you the best of luck. Who can we give a shout out to after your Stage 1 victory?
Yeah, got to thank everyone at G&G. We did a lot of work on the set this week, and thank ISCA and Tucson Sound Art, Brian Unell up in the booth, and got to thank the sponsors, Smith Farms, Pioneer, Plenish Soybeans, and just everybody that helped makes this Camaro go around.
All righty, well, we definitely appreciate your time, and we'll let you get back to it. Good luck.
Thanks, Brian.
That was Josh Schaffner, your Stage 1 victor, and hopefully get himself another one here. I don't know. I think Kenny Powell's definitely going to have something to say about that here, considering, he was really quick there on the short run. If he can get around that 50 and maybe, get that his share of that clean air, we could see a different race here. Of course, we saw Brian Johnson being really quick there on the longer run. I'll have to see how he if this pays off for him. As we're going to see the green flag come out here any moment. The pace car going to be soon to dip down pit road.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. If I were Kenny Powell, I'd stay right behind Schaffner because remember, it's only the last lap that counts. So even
You're right about that.
even the last lap of the stage is going to be more advantageous to being out front and just having all that additional pressure on you. Can you just run your own race, follow Schaffner, let him burn up his tires and use his fuel? And then, roll the dice and see what happens at the end of that. Maybe even a short pit going into the next stage, but might even work.
Yeah, just to get that track position, that could definitely be a key here. As we see some side-by-side racing for second place, Jose Acosta trying to make something happen. He's edging forward right now. He is right now in second place, technically, but we'll have to see if we can get clear.
Powell shoved him up the racetrack there as he had Brian Johnson right behind him, kind of pushing him along the way. Ryan Strunk's just on the outside. It's going to be interesting to see what plays out between the 42 and the 24. Looks like Acosta's going to kind of come up at the racetrack on that, kind of getting a harder arc maybe to get a better drive off.
It does look like Kenny Thompson definitely falling back a little bit here. John Mullins down pit road.
Yeah, not sure what that's about.
No damage on that race car. I'm not sure what that's about at all here.
It's Powell now stuck behind the 42 now. Now, this is a different perspective here. Just think about it where I'm coming from, because before they were the teammates and they were actually going to be G&G 1, 2, and 3, but then now you got Acosta into the mix. So we don't know what Acosta's pace is now. He was fast at practice. I think it's just going to be interesting to see. And him and Schaffner, their lap times are pretty consistent.
Yeah, it looks like Jose Acosta really close. Only 0.02 really difference there in lap times between those two. We see the 77 there, Ryan Strunk, side by side with Brian Johnson. He's going to be able to make that pass stick, and he's now up to 4th place. Nice moves there from the 77.
Yeah, when you got a race like this, I think it's the best time to try different things, because you've got, at the whole point, risk it for the biscuit. But you can experiment just a little bit because it's not going to hurt you as much, if that makes sense.
Definitely does. I mean, yeah, no, I get you. You can gamble a little bit here because, you're guaranteed at least a top 10 right now for the majority
Absolutely,
of these drivers. I mean, why not really put it to, do some experimenting. Figure out, you might learn something that might apply to another time whenever you find yourself in a bigger field and, against some, of course, everybody out here really talented drivers, but I mean, there's not as
And
many of
all,
them.
yeah, the only reason why I'm bringing that up, Brian, is because I would be so tickled pink if I saw somebody actually short pitted as a 77 is going to get by the 24 on the inside. They're going to actually touch just a little bit, and now it's a drag race for those two into turn one.
Strunk is looking really good as he's going to be trying to take away that third place position. Man, in the first stage, we didn't really see him shining like this. I think he started.
I think he over throttled just a little bit there, and that just caused him to get just loose enough to allow Powell to get the drive off and take that momentum. So now Schrunk's going to have to set that whole process up over again. As Jose Acosta, though, is actually breathing down Schaffner's neck, and that's probably the closest competition that Schaffner's had thus far, because Powell wasn't never really on him like that, except for at the beginning of that stage when Powell actually led a lap.
Yeah, of course, this stage is going to end on lap 65. Looks like the closer, though, I think that Jose gets to the back bumper of the 50. I mean, we heard Josh Schaffner say, that clean air does mean a lot here. And so the closer that Jose gets to the back bumper of the 50, the less that car is going to be handling as well. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Jose right now, because he did get really close to him, and now he's starting to fall back a little bit.
But what Jose's got to say is he's got to say, how do I get my car out of that draft? So maybe try not to be exactly where he's at. Sometimes that means braking a little bit early, driving off earlier out of the turn, because that will allow you to kind of get out of the leader's draft just a little bit. And that little bit is going to be the difference, as Powell now is closing up on the back of that 42. So the 42's just he's got to figure out to get as much clean air as he can when he can. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, even if it's just partial, just a little bit of extra downforce to help him get through that corner here. But Powell definitely now breathing on his neck. I mean, I think Jose showing some really good short run pace. Seems like he doesn't have as much when it comes to the longer run. We'll have to wait and see as we still have quite a bit of ways to go here in this stage. I do believe now next time 20 laps going to be to go here.
Yeah, absolutely. 20 laps to go at this stage. So still a lot of racing. But this is just where those tires are starting to get nice and warm. You know what I mean? So in another thing is it's going to manage as well. It's going to come down to how well the drivers manage the heat that's in those tires, as the racetrack temperature is still at 111 degrees. So once you heat those tires up, and you can easily do that driving too deep into a corner or whatever, it's hard to get the heat out of them.
It very much is, and it's so hard to be consistent here too. I mean, you could be fast for one lap easily, very easily. I mean, I've been putting a lot of practice in here at this track, preparation to maybe do an A open myself. But man, it is definitely difficult to turn the same lap every time here, as we see side by side battling going on for second place.
Powell definitely drove down to the inside of the 42, just showing a little bit of teeth there. And I think the 42 now is starting to fall off the pace a little bit as Powell now drives early. He drove deep into the corner there, but not getting that drive off that he wanted. But here comes the 77 behind him, and I think now the 42 might have himself a problem.
Yeah, definitely so. Going to be a little bit of a stack up here, as this is going to be good for Josh Schaffner. Schaffner probably loving to see this on his relative. These guys fighting side by side. Definitely is allowing him to pull away to over a second now. But he even said it himself that he's not trying to pull away. He's trying to take care of that equipment. It looks like Kenny Powell this time, I think he's got it done, and he slides right up in front of this 42. But here comes the 77.
Yep, 77 definitely following right behind Kenny Powell. Once he gets that inside advantage, it's so hard for the 42 to get that back, because what it's doing is preventing him the opportunity to get that roll into the corner that he needs, and it's pushing him further and up the track. And so now that he's going to fall back in, see, he just lost 2 spots just like that.
Yeah, with snap of the fingers, that's for sure. He lost 2 spots. Now he's going to be under fire by Brian Johnson. I mean, Johnson's been really quicker on the long run. But now Kenny Powell back to where he was before. G&G 1-2 right now. Ryan Strunk's going to have something to say about that, as he has been looking really quick so far here, as we're now on lap 50.
And the one thing about Ryan Strunk, he has got to, if the 77 can settle down and just stay, if he could stay in his own headspace, I think he has a great opportunity to come away with some good points. But his problem is sometimes he takes himself out of the competition. And I'm telling you, if these drivers can just stay in their own headspace and run their own race, it's going to be a huge payday for a lot of people, bud.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, with a short track like this, I mean, I'm one that likes to listen to music while I race. I'll tell you, I'd be listening to some really calming classical music or something just to kind of cool me down. That way I don't get too frustrated.
I love listening to classical music, but, in this case, I'm just listening to that Ford Mustang motor just kind of like doing exactly what it needs to do, hitting all of those high notes, that pitch, and making sure, hitting those shift points. Because this is the point in the stage where some drivers are actually going to have to start to shift. Some of these guys might have bought a fifth gear setup to this racetrack even, because they have that option here. A lot of the guys are probably running the more, I think the fourth gear setup is maybe a little bit more common. I don't know, which one were you practicing with this week?
I was practicing with a fourth gear setup, but I mean, I think if you had a fifth gear setup, I think you could see the potential to have to shift, just considering, as the tires start to wear, you might get a little bit more bogged down in the corner to make it to where you would want to get that little bit of a,
we talked to Mark Padgett. We talked to Mark Padgett on Thursday, and he was running a fifth gear setup, and he said he wasn't shifting.
Yeah, and he was very fast. I mean, we saw him. He was putting a lot of pressure on a lot of those drivers out there. So no wonder. I think he even came away with a second place, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it's all about how well these guys are going to be managing their own track space. And now 242 is definitely going to be under fire by the Ford Brian Johnson. This is where Jose Acosta's got to be very patient. He cannot get rattled by the fact that Johnson caught him, because if he just flips it, it's going to cost both of them to have an issue.
And so far, a very green race. We have not seen a caution based on an accident as of yet. And next time by, we're going to have 11 laps to go in this stage. Been flying right on by. Brian Johnson going to be desperate to make something happen. He's been having a lot of speed, but I don't think he's got the handling to really make passes happen. We haven't really seen him able to really pass. The closer he gets to the front, the harder it is for him to pass these guys. And this is one of those tracks that are like that. You could be faster than the guys in front of you, but it doesn't matter. You have to be able to actually put together that pass. You got to wait for that guy to make a mistake and take advantage of it.
Yeah, like I said, this is one of those tracks where you have to court the pass. You know what I mean? It's not like dating, but it's more like, hey, I'm thinking about passing. It's a process. And if you skip a step in that process, you will not make the pass.
You got to send that corner good morning, in the text. You got to send a good morning text.
It's a process. And if you skip a step in the process, you're not going to make the pass. It's just that simple.
You definitely got to treat that gas pedal, definitely gently, court that gas pedal, because you get on that thing a little too hard, you can find yourself with some problems. That is for sure.
It's interesting to see that this is a multi-group racetrack, but the 4 is so in tune with the line that the 42's running, is he's actually almost checked it up himself, not actually being able to get the drive off. Their line is so similar there, and I think that's probably speaking about how much their tires are worn, though, because if you haven't conserved, it's not easy to make that pass. As the 4 now is going to try to get the runoff, but he's going to come up, and he just can't get it done right there. Now you got a drag race for these two going into turn 3.
Yeah, it does look like they're going to stay side by side here going into 3. Ryan Johnson, I think, has got the advantage this time. He could slide up right now. He is clear. He does have fourth. Oh, here comes Acosta. Almost some contact there, but looks like Johnson does have that pass completed. That was close, though. Luckily, Acosta lifted for Johnson, because I think that could have been a major issue there.
Yes, that is our closest battle on the racetrack. And so far, Josh Schaffner is just, he's kind of running away with it. But, there's a lot of other things that have to happen. We still have yet another stage, as we do have, I think, 7 laps at the line left in this stage. And then after that, we'll get into the longest green flag run, hopefully, of the evening. Because that third stage, I'm interested in seeing what everybody's pit strategies are going to be. It's easy to run 30 laps, and I'm not taking away anything from anyone. I'm just saying it's a lot more complicated when you double those amount of laps in order to make it to the end of this thing.
And what's really interesting, looking at lap times from everybody out here, the fastest people on the track right now, Josh Schaffner, of course, 31.5. It looks like he was doing exactly what he was saying in the interview. Trying to take it easy, in the beginning, and then he starts putting the hammer down a little bit later once he knows he's got that long run kind of settled. Kenny Powell has been slowing down quite a bit. He's almost hitting 32-second laps. I mean, Ryan Strunk, 32-second lap. Brian Johnson, almost a 32-second lap. So everybody else is very much a lot slower than what Josh Schaffner is turning right now. He is looking really strong. They're going to have to this should be a call to action for the rest of these drivers to maybe make some important adjustments or try to, like you said, take that clean air away, maybe short pit this stage.
Look, if I'm Robert Pattengale, or if I'm the 22 of Kenny Thompson, or the 36 of Gary Adamson, you bet your sweet petunias I'm going to be coming in, here at lap 63, because that's the best way for those guys to get up front. And, man, you make your own luck in racing. That's the bottom line. You simply have to believe in that. You got to make your own luck sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely think that people like maybe Ryan Strunk, Kenny Powell, Brian Johnson, Jose Acosta, they seem like they got the pace to stay up there. I wouldn't recommend it from Kenny Thompson or Robert Pattengale or Gary Adamson, because they haven't shown the pace yet.
But see, here's what I'm saying, though. You don't know what's going to happen. No one knows. You don't know how well Josh Schaffner's going to pit. All of that has to play out. So you don't have to be in front for the whole time, but being up front for even a lap is going to change your luck. That's all I'm saying. You have nothing to lose.
That's
Anybody other than Josh Schaffner at this point in the race has nothing to lose by short pitting this stage.
Yeah, I definitely can. I can attest to that. I think you're right. Of course, the stage soon to be over here, as I do believe we're going to have, I think, 3 laps remaining. So pits should be closing here any time. But Josh Schaffner finds himself with over 2 seconds of a lead right now. And it looks like he's going to be able to sweep both stages, barring any unforeseen accident here. Greg Wyszynski is caught up to the back of Jose Acosta. Can he make something here on these final couple laps here of the stage?
Yeah, and there's another point, man, and I just hate to keep making so many points, but a lot of these guys are getting their first stage points in the entire Super Cup season or the Tucson Sound Art season. That's another thing too that's awesome, because if you're on the track right now, you're getting a stage point, baby, at least one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that is true. I think a lot of these guys it is their first time probably getting some stage points, and much needed. I mean, definitely got to be happy, and and it gives them a chance to maybe build their confidence a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh Schaffner, they're going to be crossing the start-finish line here for the final time in Stage 2. And he's getting really close to even lapping John Mullins. Of course, we saw Mullins take that pit stop earlier. So interesting decision there from him. We still don't know why he went down there. But, of course, he is still back on the racetrack. He's 1 lap down as we're going to see Josh Schaffner, your Stage 2 winner. I think next up, if when the caution does come out and these guys do find themselves down pit road, let's give Kenny Powell a jingle here once we get there. And there it is, the caution there for Stage 2. As I mentioned, Josh Schaffner going to be your Stage 2 winner. Kenny Powell's in 2nd place. Ryan Strunk in 3rd. 4th place, Brian Johnson. 5th place, Jose Acosta. 6th place, Greg Wyszynski. 7th place, Gary Adamson. 8th place, Kenny Thompson. 9th place, Robert Pattengale. 10th place, John Mullins. Those are the points-paying positions. Going to be good for John Mullins. He's going to be able to get that lap back. He luckily did not find himself getting another lap down, so he should be on the lead lap here after this. But let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Pay some attention to our sponsors, Tucson Sound Art, and we'll be right back.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
I'm aware in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Some big things kind of happening on pit road. I think Big Al just said that Kenny Powell lost a lot of positions. I think we're about to get the chance to talk with him in just a moment.
I got you.
Big Al. Hey, Kenny, this is Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, so we got 2 stages in the books so far, and I've got to ask you this question. Are you more concerned with your car through the first 2 stages or this last stage?
Oh, definitely this stage. The first 2 were I'm just testing the waters, see what people had, and I think I've got something for a little bit of everybody, maybe even Josh. We'll see.
All right. Well, that sounds very confident. So, what happened there coming off of pit road?
I slid through my box a little bit. Not sure what happened there, but yeah, I didn't get stopped in time, and yeah, so that took me an extra second or 2.
So, so compared to the first 2 stages, do you think the third stage is going to be a little bit more the same, or you think a lot of drivers are going to have to adjust to see if their cars can make this long run?
I think it's going to be a lot more of the same, to be honest with you. You know, obviously it's a longer run. We got to split it in the middle somewhere to do a pit stop, and you know, hopefully that's where everything is going to make the difference right there. Who can get in, who can get out.
Well, it does seem like we've lost Big Al there. Yep.
Sorry about that, Kenny. I got a little bit overzealous, but I do realize that we're running out of time. But yeah, it is. So, have you guys practiced your pit strategy or not?
Oh, definitely. I definitely know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to leave that closer to the chest.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see it. Before we let you go, you want to give a mini shout out?
Yeah, thank you guys in the booth, Tucson Sound Art, and let's get rolling.
All right. Good luck to you, Kenny. Thanks for your time.
That was Kenny Powell, second place finisher, and I do believe in both stages. Green flag back out in the air. Josh Schaffner wasting no time. Ryan Strunk, really good restart there. He is cleared down to the bottom in second place. Definitely, Strunk has been showing a lot of pace. Curious if he's got anything for Josh Schaffner himself. We do see Brian Johnson making some big inroads here on Jose Acosta.
Absolutely, and Kenny Powell is also trying to get back up into the fray here. As like you said, he did kind of bobble on pit road a little bit. Now, the key is going to be track position, because you're going to want to go ahead and make those passes early on in the stage, Brian, because once your tires wear out, then it's going to be a lot harder to get by. As you see the 42 and the 4 still battling for third position.
And also, you know, Kenny Thompson out of the race car, too. I think he might have given it up there at the conclusion of stage 2. Oh, Jose Acosta bobbling a little bit off the corner there. That's going to set up Kenny Powell to maybe get underneath him.
Powell drives it in deep right there coming into the turn, and he's going to slide up just a little bit. Now these two are going to be side by side, and it is going to be a drag race. Powell trying to best them as they come across the line. Now it's going to be who drives into one deeper. Powell looks like he has the advantage. Now he's going to slide right up in front. Wait on Acosta to see if he'll try to crossover. Not there. Powell secures 4th place.
Yeah, he's going to be definitely desperate to try to make up as many positions as he can. I mean, he said that he thinks he's got a car that can maybe tango with Josh Schaffner, but it's going to be hard to do it from back here in 4th place, that's for sure. He's going to have to make up as many positions as he can or come up with some type of very interesting pit strategy. He says he's got something. He's wanting to keep it close to the chest. Can't wait to see what that looks like. Ryan Strunk, though, is really on the back of Josh Schaffner. Here we go. He's on the inside. a battle for the lead. This is the first time I do believe Josh Schaffner's had been side by side here. Could we see the 77? I don't believe I've ever seen him win one of these ISCA races. Could this be his first?
Well, it's one thing to make the pass, but we still got a lot of racing to go as we're just now almost halfway through this thing. So I don't think it's time to crown anybody just yet.
Oh, yeah.
But I do believe Schaffner's going to fight, though, because he understands the value of that clean air. So I don't think that it's over just yet, Brian.
And one thing this is doing also is allowing Brian Johnson and Kenny Powell and Jose Acosta, those guys, to start to catch up here. Could they start to be a factor here for this race lead?
Yes, the 77 and the 50 are going side by side here coming into turn one. Like I said, Schaffner's still not letting that pass go by, as he is now going to try to get the drive off, but the 77's got his grips up, and now who's got the best grip is a style drag race here going into three. These guys are going to be side by side at least for a while here. 77 still trying to keep a bumper on the inside of the 5-0.
Oh, and really close.
Just a little bit, Brian.
That was almost, he almost turned him there. As Brian Johnson is now going to take advantage here. Kenny Powell also 3 wide for just a moment there.
As Powell's going to be driving. Ooh, and a 42 of Jose Acosta totally dive bombs and comes into the side of the 4. But Powell is going to be fighting for second place as he tried to take advantage of the distracted 77 and the 4 and drive on the inside. It almost worked out for him, Brian.
Oh, and he gets really close to the back bumper of Ryan Strunk. Could we already see some bumpers being feeded to some of these guys here tonight? I tell you, that short track racing, there's nothing like it. As we see Kenny Powell trying to make something happen here. Ryan Strunk a little bit up the track. You see Kenny Powell's taking a little bit more of a shallow entry.
Yes, we're now officially halfway into this contest. So the next major muscle movement is going to be when these drivers start to figure out what their pit strategy is going to be. And I asked Kenny Powell when we actually interviewed him during the break if he did practice that pit, because this is one of those tracks as well where if you don't practice pitting here, it's like golfing and not practicing putting.
Yeah, this is definitely not an easy place to get down pit road. That is 100%. As Ryan Strunk once again trying to make something happen on Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, to not practice pitting. It's like baseball without doing hitting practice or batting practice, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. We'll have to wait and see it in practice, you know, when it comes to, you know, those green flag pit stops. We'll have to wait and see.
That, and the 77 of Ron Strunk is doing everything he can. He is trying to get around Schaffner. He's driving it in. He's braking early. He's now trying to get around on the inside again. He is trying to get out front, but Schaffner definitely wants to maintain that position. Here they come side by side. It is now a drag race for these two as they're going to be going into one. 77 is going to push him up just a little bit. He's going to pinch him, try to keep him to the outside.
Yeah, you know, and that's a good call for Ryan Strunk to kind of keep that 50 a little bit higher on the track. That way he can arc it a little bit better and get that runoff that he needs, as they still remain side by side, still drag racing here. But it looks like Schaffner's got the momentum up on the top.
Oh, yeah, Schaffner, like I said, he is going to fight tooth and nail to maintain that position because the fresh air, the clean air is just way too valuable, especially at this track. The car is going to handle so much differently, and that's not when you want to have dirty air. It's when you're trying to do a long run, Brian.
Definitely, for sure. But looks like Ryan Strunk has got the advantage right now. He is going to pull ahead of Josh Schaffner. Schaffner's going to try the crossover maneuver here.
Yeah, but, you know, is Schaffner faster on the inside or the outside? Now we get to see for the first time, and then apparently he is faster on the outside. As Strunk is going to go ahead now, looks like he is going to enjoy the lion's share of the lead. Kenny Powell now is going to be trying to come up and make a move on Schaffner as well, because I think Schaffner just might have revealed just a little bit of a weakness that is that he has to have the inside.
And he also has to have that clean air. And, you know, that's definitely probably affecting his handling now, because this is the first time he's had to be in dirty air so far here all night long. But it looks like he's going to be able to catch back up to Strunk and try to put something on him here. But Strunk very much impressive here, as he is now our leader, has about a 0.2 of a second lead on Josh Schaffner. Schaffner trying to probably capture that back. We saw him really good on the long run, but now that he does not have that clean air, could that long run not look as good?
Well, look at the line that Strunk is running as well. I mean, he's got this track figured out. I mean, he is turning perfectly into the turn. He's getting a great drive off. I mean, and he's not really having to check up that much. So I think right now, if it were a guitar, I mean, he is perfectly in tune.
He definitely very much is. He's playing some beautiful music on that guitar for sure, as he takes that Kathy Malone 77. Starting to pull away a little bit here, too. Also, 0.4 right now he has of a lead on Schaffner. Schaffner, of course, being pressured by Kenny Powell.
Yeah, and Jose Acosta is slowly going to make his way back up into the picture, because he is going to be wanting to battle that 4 of Brian Johnson. Jose now being shown in 5th place. But, hey, shout out to Robert Pattengill, as he is absolutely doing a lot better with maintaining the pace here in the beginning stage of this of stage 3. And that's going to pay him dividends here in the long run, as he is currently being shown in 9th place.
I think Ryan Strunk's having a little bit of problems here. The last couple corners, he definitely didn't look as strong. Now Josh Schaffner's on the top side. Can Ryan Strunk hold on?
Well, I think at this point that his guitar is out of tune.
Here we go, 3 wide. Kenny Powell on the inside.
Powell breaking early there to try to get that advantage to drive off. But he still did, but then Strunk came down, so Powell not being able to get the drive off that he wanted, that's going to make him have to contend with the 4 Brian Johnson a little bit more than he wanted to, Brian.
Yeah, side by side for the top 4 positions here. Ryan Strunk still trying to battle here with Josh Schaffner. Kenny Powell and Brian Johnson battling for that 3rd place position. Man, this has definitely gotten a lot more exciting here in this last stage. The heat has turned up here.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have 64 laps to go in this thing, which means also that next caution comes out, these drivers will actually be able to go to the racing. But look at this now. Strunk is going to be trying to get a drive on the inside. He gets the bumper from the 5-0 of Schaffner. Schaffner now shows high but peaks low. The 77 trying to drive low to get back into that position. But you got the 4 making run. He's up in the 3rd, Brian.
Yeah, big fighting here. Kenny Powell looks like he's having a little bit of issues getting off the corner there. That's going to give Brian Johnson that 3rd place position here. And Schaffner probably showing a lot of his displeasure here with that 77, as the 77 seems like he might be slowing these guys down, but he definitely is, protecting that position as best as he can here. Now he's on the top. Schaffner's on the bottom. Can Schaffner get clear? And it looks like he might be able to do it here.
It's not quite over yet, as the 5 of Wachinski is now going to be coming into the picture, as he's actually getting a great run from all of this, because he's actually been able to just kind of lay back and not burn up his equipment, as the 77 finds himself possibly going to all the way back to 6th place. As he is now currently battling to maintain 4th, but here comes Jose Acosta on the inside. He is going to try to shut the door on the 77 sooner than later, and we've seen that a 42 is not really afraid to swap a little paint, Brian.
Yeah, definitely not at all. That John Deere, nothing runs like a deer. Here's we're 90 laps into this race. These guys are about 23 laps into this run. So I would assume we're probably going to see guys go down pit road probably about 110, 115. Probably when we'll see those green flag pit stops start to take place. Could see some deviation there from these drivers, as Jose Acosta and the 77 are literally connected on the doors there. Wow, Jose barely able to squeeze right up in front.
Yeah, it's about track position, and that's why these guys are battling so hard. And here comes that 5 of Greg Wachinski. He is going to be wanting to get himself up into the top 5 here for the first time this evening as well. So Strunk probably burned his equipment up maybe just a little bit sooner than he might have wanted to, trying to get up and pass Josh Schaffner, because, Schaffner has incredible race pace. So you know that he actually – and now he is sideways.
Oh, no.
That's not going to be good for him, as the caution is out now, and that's going to change a lot of things, because with the caution coming out now, Strunk is really going to benefit from that, because I think he was out of – his coke was flat, okay, if that makes any sense.
100%, yeah.
And now these guys are definitely going to be within that window to make it here for the duration. So that's going to change everybody's pit strategy so far. Nobody was expecting to get a caution in the third stage because it had been caution free. And so now if you had that long run car set up, I don't know, do you come down pit road or not, Brian?
I would say you do, just considering you might be able to make it from here. It's possible. I think if you maybe save a little bit here, looking at I think we're gonna have around 66 laps to go when we go back green. So this could, I would pit. Yes, I would be right down pit road.
Yo, say again on how many laps we'll have.
I do believe, well, it won't be 66. We'll have a little bit less than 66. So these guys should be well within the fuel window.
Yeah, I think we're at 59 to go right now. So, yeah, they are definitely within that fuel window.
My math, I got that South Carolina education. So
I totally understand, man.
But everybody has filed down pit road. Jose Acosta has to back it up a little bit there.
And that's definitely going to cost him time on pit road, and so it will cost him at least one position coming out.
And there is that one position. I do believe Brian Johnson's able to get clear of him. I think Johnson just beat Kenny Powell out of pit road, too.
Yep, he is actually being shown in second.
Very good to see that that 4-car doing this well.
And Jose Acosta going to drop all the way down to 7th place there coming off the pit road.
Wow, that was a costly mistake. And you know, it was only like a millisecond. He kicked it into reverse really quickly and got back in that box, but still, the damage was done.
Yeah, you also have to get in the pit road quick. You got to be efficient. You got to stay all the way as close as possible to. I mean, you got to be 34.99999 or 35.99999 miles an hour. You just got to be like a millisecond under 36 miles an hour, because it's just that is how much it matters.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get any speeding penalties, that's for sure. But, man, we haven't seen Johnson in second place, I don't believe, all night long. Can he put some pressure on, Schaffner? We saw earlier Ryan Strunk was able to do that. Can Johnson do that? I mean, I'm very curious. I don't think it's all sewn up and done for Josh Schaffner. I think he's been showing a little bit of chinks in his armor in that last stint.
Well, yeah, especially when you actually look at the fastest laps. I mean, Schaffner only best both Johnson and Powell by 3/100ths of a second. So, I mean, that's really that's shorter than a sneeze. So, this is actually going to turn into quite the battle. And remember, these guys are going to be really wanting to get that track position set up early. And I think they found out if you challenge Schaffner early, you could actually get by him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did figure that out. I mean, they were watching. I guarantee you they were watching him and saw that, hey, he's got a little bit of weakness. If I can get in front of him early, I could probably try to pull away. I mean, Ryan Strunk was kind of doing that for a moment. He started to pull away, but then I don't know if he burned his equipment up. But, I mean, definitely still, I mean, the damage is done. It's just like if you hurt Superman, you realize that, hey, Superman, you can get him,
Oh, yeah, you can get it, all right. That's exactly what I'd be saying if I was Superman. Come on, run on up in here.
I mean, I'm sure Josh Schaffner relishes in the competition. He loves the challenge. I think every driver out here loves the challenge. They're not out here just to run away. They're out here because they love to compete.
Lights are off on the pace car. He is ducking down. Schaffner reaches into that Geico restart zone. Wastes no time, gets an excellent start off. Now, Brian Johnson going to be pulling up second place. But here, remember Kenny Powell, he likes to dive down on the inside there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Ford does, as he is definitely trying to get the throttle back down to maintain second place. But Kenny Powell is now up to his inside. He is actually on his door, Brian.
That he is. We see second place battling right now as, like you said, Kenny Powell side by side with that Southern Spiral Pipe 4 there. Can Kenny Powell get this pass completed? I mean, Kenny sounded very confident coming into this race. Looked strong on Thursday, but didn't have necessarily the best race he could have had. We'll have to see what he can manage here, as he still is battling with his G&G teammate. This is a track where teammates do not matter in the least, I would say. I'd say that Kenny going to be racing that forward just as hard as he would anybody else.
Yeah, the key is you got to get down to the inside, because if you could get the inside advantage, then that's your best opportunity. But speaking of the inside, the 42 of Jose Acosta has the inside of the 64. He is going to try to drive it deep down in, as the 64 is going to be on the outside, trying to put the power back to the tires and come around to the 42, as these two are going to be drag racing what is definitely looking like what's going to be 5th place, Brian.
And, of course, we saw Mullins down pit road earlier, went a lap down. He is, of course, now back on the lead lap, fighting for that 5th place position, and is looking really good. I mean, his fastest lap time of the race is actually the fastest lap of the race. Hit a 30.708. Not sure if that translates to the long run pace. We haven't really seen that car up here in the this top 5.
But Jose Acosta has the fastest with a 30.702.
Oh wow, that is incredible. I didn't see that. Thank you for the correct. Oh, speaking of Jose,
Strunk is out of control again, and that's going to actually cause a caution, and it's possibly going to cause him to be collected with Robert Pattingale. Poor Pattingale. I mean, if he did actually make contact with the 77, like I think he did, that's just going to compound to another bad. Oh, the 77 just drives it in hard to the back end of the 42, and that collects Robert Pattingale, and he's going to take a hard shot to that outside wall. Sure hope he's okay. And that also collected Gary Adamson, so almost half the field actually being wrapped up in that one incident, Brian.
Oh, super heavy front end damage for Robert Pattingale. I think that is going to be a race ender right there.
And I think the 36 did get stopped just in time. So thank goodness for that. So it looks like there were only 3 cars involved in that. But still, nonetheless, that was 33% of our natural population.
Man, hate to see that from Pattingale. Nothing really he could have did. And, Strunk really just overdriving it there, got into the back of that 42, sent him. Luckily, the 42 was actually able to save it. Yeah. Man, what a drive there from Jose to be able to save that equipment after that.
Yeah, and the 4s actually decided to go down on pit road. Now, he was not involved in that incident. Now, Kenny Powell actually thought about it himself, but then elected to stay out. So now that adds a whole entirely different dimension to this whole situation, Brian.
We just added some blueberries to that can of biscuits.
We sure did. I mean, exactly. Well put. We just added some blueberries to the biscuits.
Hey, and it looks like we should hopefully be getting back green here shortly. Of course, we just saw a caution there with Jose Acosta, getting kind of turned there from Ryan Strunk. Strunk has been showing a lot of pace here. I don't believe Jose got a lot of damage out of that. And like you said, Gary Adamson, what a great job. Some heads-up driving there to be able to get that thing locked down before he got into that mess.
But I'm thinking I like the call of the 4. I think at this point, that is the risk it for the biscuit move of the race, because he's thinking like I'm thinking, and that is, hey, man, this thing's going to go green the rest of the way, and he is going to be on the freshest tires. So all he's got to do is just bide his time, and tires do make a difference there, because that's going to give him at least, the 64 decides to come down and get him some tires too. So maybe he took a page out of the playbook of the 4 there.
Yeah, I do believe he did. As we see, the top 5 right now are on 9-lap-old tires. Even though that doesn't sound like much, it definitely could definitely play a role there. That Johnson's going to have just a little bit fresher tires than those guys. Yeah,
because these guys are going to have almost 60 laps on their tires if this thing goes green by time it's over. But he's going to be way down with like 50, and that's going to make a huge difference in handling and speed and fall off at the end of this thing, Brian. So I kind of like the call.
Definitely like that call too. Hopefully we'll see it play out well. And this is we talked about it earlier. This is that time to where you do some experimenting. Throw a little, throw that those dice. Roll the dice a little bit there. Try to get something done because you're guaranteed at least a top 9 right now. So you're not really risking it that much. Losing it all, I guess you could say. Like if we were in a 30-car field, yeah, you stand to lose it all. But here,
Well,
you
yeah,
don't.
and plus, no matter what happens now, you don't have to risk track position. I mean, and that's what's going to be at the forefront of everybody in front of him is going to be track position, because if you go back down there to get tires, you're still going to have to drive back through the field. So he won't have to worry about that because you're the one that's got to be passed. So lights are out on the pace car. We're coming around turn 4 here, and we're getting ready. The pace car be dropping back down, and it's going to be a drag race between the 24 and the 50.
That it will. Even some contact there a little bit between Schaffner and Kenny Powell, but Schaffner gets up to the gears a little bit better there. He's going to be able to secure that lead here. Jose Acosta on the inside here of Kenny Powell trying to fight for second place.
Jose is up to the door of Powell. That means he is a solidified opponent, and looks like he is going to drive by Powell on the outside. Powell's going to try to set himself up for a crossover, but he just cut off Wachinski just a little bit. Wachinski now having to check up and go up high. That's going to cause the 4 to have to check up.
And it looked like the 24 bobbled a little bit off of out of 2 there, and that's what allowed Jose to be able to get the momentum enough to be able to make that pass stick.
He was roasting them just a little bit, Brian, and that is, that did cause the difference, because remember, Acosta was way back. Now he's back up to second place, so that is probably going to make it a very, very interesting run between him and Schaffner, because Jose has got the pace, So right now he is definitely going to be trying to get up to the 5-0. It just, I imagine he's going to be like a gnat.
Yeah, definitely, definitely like a gnat, trying to bother that Josh Schaffner there. Brian Johnson, of course, on the new tires. He's struggling a little bit trying to get around Greg Wachinski. Even though he is on new tires, he's right there on his back, bumper there, trying to make something happen. You see Ryan Strunk, even though he was involved in that accident earlier, seems like he is just fine, still out there driving. Robert Pattengale, even after his hard hit, is still racing on the track. Very glad to see that. Love to see the determination there, and surprised to see that car still even running after that huge of a hit.
Yeah, Brian Johnson's trying everything he can to get around Greg Wachinski, and Greg's not doing him any favors. But looks like he is now up to his door, and he might be clear. And if he does get clear of him, his next target is going to be the 24, Kenny Powell, because he has got to try to get up as close as he can to Schaffner while he still has the advantage of the fresh tires. That's going to be the key. The key is going to be to solidify that track position by getting up there and challenging Schaffner right now, because the sooner he can do that, the better off his chances are going to be to pass him.
Yeah, because, the thing is about Brian Johnson, even though he has new tires, the closer that he gets up to the front to Josh Schaffner, the more he's going to have burn those tires up to move forward, having to pass all these guys. So he might, he might be on the same kind of old tires that Schaffner is when he gets up there.
Yeah, but as long as he's continues to make it so that he can drive around the outside, he's going to be fine. As Powell and Acosta have been battling pretty much tooth and nail since this thing has started. So that has allowed Johnson to actually now creep up onto the back of Powell. And if he does everything in his power, he's going to be okay. But, Ryan Strunk's back there, and Strunk is definitely one that's going to try to put a little bit of salt into the Kool-Aid, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan Strunk also is one of the ones that is on newer tires like Brian Johnson. You see John Mullins, he's also on a little bit newer tires. As now I do believe we have, 41 laps to go here. Next time by is going to be 40.
Yeah, Brian Johnson wants any shot at getting around Josh Schaffner. He has got to go down. And I mean that because it's going to be that much harder for him to pass.
Here comes John Mullins battling with Greg Wachinski.
Now, if a caution were to come out, though, then things might actually go in his favor, though. But he's going to need a caution within 5.
Yeah, for sure. Brian Johnson, Ryan Strunk, and I do believe John Mullins. I think that they might be out of tires here. Could be the case. I know we have 4 down in the pits. They have pitted 4 times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In order to make it work, he's going to need a caution within 5, because then he will still have somewhat of an advantage on clean tires. But the biggest problem is going to be the longer this thing goes green, it just he's going to become, if he does go to the lead, he will become a sitting duck.
Well, actually, looking at Ryan Strunk's time on pit road, he actually only spent 5.1 seconds. So I think he just was fueling up maybe something like that. So he didn't take
Or
tires on
probably
that
take
last
some
stop.
damage. Here comes the Ford, though. He is battling around the 24. That's going to be for third place. Now, he has had a lot of speed coming off the high side, but it's going to be – and Kenny Powell does brake and go drive in low, but he's going to have to be able to transfer that to the ground, get a good solid drive off if he wants to win that drag race coming around the backstretch.
Yeah, it looks like Johnson with those new tires and on the top is going to be able to beat him here. And then Kenny Powell just goes up there and lines up right behind him. So now Johnson up to third place. Now going to be setting his sights on, I do believe, the 42 here. Ryan Strunk now also trying to put some pressure on Kenny Powell himself.
Now, this is going to be Johnson's greatest challenge. I think it's going to be even harder to get around the 42 than it's going to be to get around the 50.
Yeah, I don't think that 42 definitely does not like to get past. That is for sure. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out, though. I mean, Johnson he has the pace. I mean, he's getting really close to him. I mean, he's about 2/10 back there from Jose Acosta. Can he make something happen here? As we're now on lap 116 of 151 here with the Cheerwine 151 here with the Tucson Sound Art Cup and Super Cup Series.
Yeah, Brian Johnson steadily closing in the gap on the 42 of Jose Acosta. He is definitely wanting to be around Jose, so that's going to make him a lot more anxious. And he's going to be driving a lot more loose than he usually would, because he has got to get around Jose if he wants any shot of getting around Schaffner. Strunk is also coming around the back end as he is trying to catch the 24 of Kenny Powell. Now got himself back up into fifth position after actually bringing out the last two cautions, Brian.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, both cautions, I do believe, came as a result of Strunk going around. Luckily, he didn't get a lot of damage out of that, and he's shown a lot of pace. Has actually led some laps here tonight, but we talked about it before. I mean, you could be fast at this track, but you have to be able to be consistent. And I think that's what Strunk's problem is here.
Well, hopefully he's got it all out of his system, as right now this is shaping up to going to be quite the battle. As we are sitting here with 34 laps to go, the 42 has closed the door on the 5-0, and the 4 has closed the door on the 42.
Jose Acosta looking really good. I wonder if he's made any changes during this race here as he gets right up to the back bumper of Josh Schaffner in the middle of the corner.
Didn't I say something about being like a gnat?
He definitely is doing exactly that right now. He's a mosquito or a gnat right up in Josh Schaffner's ear.
Yeah, Schaffner definitely able to hear his shift points, and I'm sure that's not what he wants at this point.
He definitely does not need to be looking in that rearview mirror. That's going to be definitely a big mistake. This is a track where you have to look forward.
Yeah, but Josh Schaffner, if anybody out there, I would say this about anybody on that track. That man he's got ice water running through his veins, man, when it comes to racing.
Here comes Brian Johnson trying to get on the high side here of the 42. But the 42 closes the door.
Johnson is going to have to make this pass, and it might not be pretty, Brian, but he's going to have to do it soon, as we are now coming up on 30 laps to go. And if he wants any shot whatsoever at Schaffner, he has got to make quick work of Acosta.
Yeah, I think, like you said before, I think you were 100% on the money that the 42 is going to be the harder obstacle than I think Schaffner will be. But looks like Johnson is he's dedicated to try to make that pass on the top, but it does not seem like he's able to get up there and actually get side by side with him.
Yeah, that's no discredit to the 5-0 at all, or the 50, depending on where you're from. My military background makes me say 5-0, but the reason why I'm saying that is Acosta is not. He has been he's been fighting all night for every position. I mean, he relentlessly. So He's going to make it difficult, period. I mean, mark my words. He's not going to let you go.
He definitely is not going to, and almost had a little bit of an issue there. It looks like Johnson's going to be able to go on the inside here. Johnson was on the high side there, Jose Acosta, and Acosta almost looked like he just threw a major block that could have ended poorly, but it looks like Johnson, I think he might have been psyching him out. Like he was like, hey, I'm going to try to pass you on the top. I'm going to try to pass you on the top. And then he goes to the bottom because Jose's protecting that top, and then he's able to get right by him. What a move there from Johnson. Now he's going to set his sights on that 50 car. Can he get up there and tussle with him? It looks like he's got a good run into the corner.
So far he's had the call of the race, and then he just had the move of the race. I mean, especially if he can actually catch up to the 50 and get in the lead on this thing. The way he passed Acosta, I thought was nothing short of brilliant right there. And Jose is a tremendous competitor. That's all I mean by that. He's going to race you. Period. End of statement. Every lap, every second, Jose Acosta is going to race you.
That he will. Now I do believe Josh Schaffner feeling the pressure here as Brian Johnson tries that same tactic here on that 50. Was the 50 watching, seeing him trying to pass on the top and then maybe try to throw it in underneath. Hopefully Josh is wise to that. We'll have to wait and see how that kind of plays out as we are seeing some big battling for the race win here, as I do believe we have going to be soon to be 25 laps to go next time by.
Like I said, the best case the four is going to have is to get out of Schaffner's shadow. He cannot follow his pace if he's going to want to make that pass. He's got to get out of that dirty air as much as he can. And Kenny Powell actually predicted that he had a little something for everybody. Isn't that what he said? I think he said a little something for everybody.
That's what he said.
He's now closing the door on Jose Acosta. He's going to be trying to get around Jose for third place.
Yeah, he definitely is going to, but he is running out of time when it comes to trying to get up there to that lead.
Yeah, but you know what though, Brian? And what's he have it? If Powell can have a win and then a top three the week after, I don't know what else momentum you're going to want going into next week.
Yeah, especially momentum is going to be really, really important next week as we head to Pocono.
Yes, Powell is reeling in the back of the 42. He's got to be trying to figure out how he's going to set him up in order to make the pass. Josh Schaffner still enjoying a little bit of an advantage over the four of Brian Johnson, but I think that little bit is starting to dwindle as well as Powell now just puts the bumper to the back of the 42 just a little bit, possibly as a result of a checkup or maybe just a little bit of a sign of frustration.
And a caution is out. Ryan Strunk brings out our third caution of the night. And he spins all by himself, it does appear to be.
These tracks are tricky.
Definitely is a very tricky track. Luckily, no one got involved with him as he slides down there into the grass and doesn't hit anything, so that's going to be good for him at least.
Oh, man, this is going to make everything tricky because if you're Schaffner, if you're Schaffner, if you're Acosta, you're Powell, you're pitting. I mean, that's your call. There's no other call there I think that you can make. And then to Johnson, you risked it for the biscuit early, but I think you're going to be a sitting duck as these guys do come back out with fresh tires and only 20 laps to go.
Yeah, Johnson does not have any tires remaining. Otherwise, we would have seen him go right back down pit road with these guys to stay on that tire strategy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the only thing that he could possibly hope for is that as Greg Wojcinski looks like he is going to get the lucky dog, he'll get the wave around. That's going to put 9 cars on the lead lap. The best that he could hope for at this point is that he can hope for more cautions and that he can actually win that drag race to turn 1. His best case.
John Mullins winning the race off pit road, only 5.8 seconds in the box. I don't believe Mullins had tires left either.
And not at 5.8 seconds, he didn't.
So this is going to be interesting. The top 2 guys are on old tires. This could be very interesting indeed as we could be even
Yeah.
more potential for another caution because of this.
Yeah, Brian Johnson needed that caution to come out at least 10 laps prior to when it did. With it actually coming out now, and we're going to have probably 20 laps to go once this thing goes green. I think Kenny Powell might be onto something, but hopefully, he's got a short run car now, instead of maybe he made the adjustments that he needed, because that's what you got to think about this as now, especially for those guys that will be coming out on fresh tires.
Yeah, I think I would have probably maybe made some adjustments to tighten the car up a little bit or something for the shorter run. Could have been the play to make. We'll have to wait and see for sure here. As like you said, the top two are now on old tires. Everybody else on newer tires. Greg Wyszynski, though, he's on 10-lap old tires, sitting in 8th place. And Robert Pattengale still sitting in the actually, no, I do believe Greg Wyszynski just went down pit road, so probably going to be to use that maybe that last set of tires he has. But the field right now, Brian Johnson in the lead. John Mullins in 2nd place. Josh Schaffner 3rd. Jose Acosta's in 4th. Kenny Powell 5th place. Gary Adamson in 6th place. Ryan Strunk 7th. 8th place, Robert Pattengale. 9th place, Greg Wyszynski. Of course, Kenny Thompson's out of the race car. He's 63 laps down. The 11th place position, Derek Jacobs, he's 111 laps down. Paul Olson, 123 laps down. So unfortunate for all those 3 drivers. They are out of the cars.
Yep, and I think John Mullins just probably made made the smartest decision he's made all day, and he elected to actually roll on down pit road to get out of the way. I don't think he wanted to be a part of that battle at all with his current tire condition. So now that's going to put the 50 and the 4 side by side. And like I said, Brian Johnson, he has got to win this drag race. So it'd be interesting to see who starts in first. And if Johnson does start in first, he's going to have to keep that car going forward, Brian. Lights are out on the pace car. He's going to be getting out of the way. Johnson's going to lead us to that Geico restart zone, and then may the force be with us.
Yeah, I don't know how he's going to compete here. 30-lap older tires, green flag back out in the air.
That's how he does it. He takes that short fall leap, and he gets a good run, and now he is rolling.
You can already see it. These guys are catching up quickly. Yep, Acosta on the inside.
Acosta's going to be on the inside, and that's going to put him in a very good position over Schaffner. All he's got to do is get a run over the 4. Oh, look at that. Now, that's going to put Schaffner all the way back potentially to 3rd place. And if he goes back to 3rd place, we got only 19 laps to go. That changes everything, Brian.
And also, Ryan Strunk was really good on the shorter run, too. We saw him bring that caution out earlier. Now he's up in the top 3. So, yeah, the Schaffner is not in a good position right now as Jose Acosta leads it.
If I was Schaffner, I'd just kind of back off and just kind of let this thing play out, because as long as they're all on the same set of tires, once it's 10 to go, that's when I put the hammer down. But Schaffner getting a little bit loose there coming off of 4. He's going to have to watch that tire spin as well, because no one is exempt from that. Throttle control is going to be the key. And I do believe that if we see this right, Powell's possibly, and I think I'm going to predict it. Powell's going to get a 24, 42 the bumper.
Could definitely be the case here. It definitely could happen. I mean, Powell could go back-to-back here, because of these late race kind of situations that happened. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in racing, and you kept guessing the whole time. You think you do this enough to where you can kind of predict things, but man, I tell you what, I did not predict this.
Yeah, and if I'm Powell, I'm just sitting back and I'm just trying to let Jose know I'm there, but I'm still watching out for the 77 at the same time, because the one thing you don't want to get is you don't want to get pushed from behind as you're trying to set up a possibility to push the other guy from behind. But wow, what a story for Powell, though. He is definitely having an awesome race. I believe he started in P2, and he's currently running P2, and really has a pretty good shot at actually winning this thing, Brian. And
he really does. But now that Jose Acosta's got that clean air, I mean, how is his car going to handle better? We have not seen him in the lead. Oh, there's the bump. Kenny Powell already putting some bumper there to that 42, letting him know that, hey, I'm here, boy, and I ain't going nowhere.
No, that wasn't a bumper. That was
I mean, it wasn't like a bump out of the way, but he definitely pushed him a little bit there.
That was just a little love tap. The bumper's coming, baby.
I think that was the preemptive. It's showing him that, hey, I will feed you the bumper.
I'm not trying to predict anything. I'm just trying to tell you, I've been doing this long enough to know that there's the bumper.
Oh, and I think that was actually net code.
It might be. That's what you call it. But now Powell's got to watch out for the 77 because, I mean, he's going to possibly face the same fate. That's why I just would kind of hang back until there's about 8 to go.
Yeah, I don't even think they actually touched right there. Is Jose Acosta trying to recover here to get around Schaffner?
No, that's just going to make things even more interesting for Josh Schaffner because now he's not just going to be able to run his race. He's going to have to try to defend third place because that's exactly what he's having to do now. Acosta's not going to go anywhere. He has been chasing Schaffner virtually all night. And the 77 of Ryan Strunk now finds himself in probably the best position of anybody out there now. If Kenny Powell is actually able to get a run, and he's going to need to get some distance, baby, he's going to have to run like his life depends on it.
That he
that's
will.
what it's going to take.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to, you know, he can't give that 77 a chance to even feed him that bumper.
I mean, and you understand that as we saw race in last night with the classic bump and run, it's going to happen at this track, buddy. You could just, I mean, put your marker on it.
Oh yeah, that's short track racing, as Denny Hamlin said.
Yeah, look at how far the 4 has fallen back, as he is now actually all the way back to 8th place. Behind the 17 of Robert Pattingill.
Well, I mean, you got to think John Mullins and Brian Johnson both did not have tires, so they are, you know, well off the pace, a second slower.
And Mullins is actually on pit road again. I mean, he's just going down there to get some words of encouragement, I hope, as we intend to go with this thing.
He heard his pit crew was eating ice cream. He said he wanted some. But here comes Schaffner. He's really starting to put a lot of pressure on Strunk. So Kenny Powell is not safe yet, because if Schaffner comes up there, I think we're going to have a real battle here. But it might be too late.
Oh, is the 50 of Schaffner does go by Strunk, but Strunk is going to try to come on the outside. Hopefully they won't make contact. Schaffner getting the drive off as he is now clear.
What a race.
Acosta is going to be trying to get back up into the top 3. He drives deep in on the 77. They're definitely going to make contact as they're both now on the throttle coming out of the turn. And there they go, trading just a little bit of paint. Still nothing too overzealous yet, as they're going to be driving right on down into the turn, still side by side, just like a shadow. They're going to stay door to door, Brian, all the way through the start-finish line.
Wouldn't be surprised to see them rubbing a little bit of that Goodyear off the side of those tires.
Yeah, because right now it's about who gets to talk to Big Al and Brian. That's what that boils down to.
And it looks like they are battling hard. A lot of physicality to this battle between these two, fighting for that third place position.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, as there is 8 to go. And right now, for the time being, looks like Ryan Strunk is going to solidify that podium position, but it's not over yet, as Jose Acosta is still going to be battling alongside him on the inside. But, before you get too distracted, Josh Schaffner slowly closing that gap on 24, Kenny Powell, who is our current leader.
Look at this, just slide job. Oh, the 77 loses it. He's going to be on the grass sideways, no caution.
Please don't let there be a caution.
As we now have the battle for the lead heating up. Josh Schaffner trying everything he can to catch up here. Kenny Powell in line to get his second win.
Now, how special would that be for Kenny Powell if he was actually able to go back-to-back? The only person that is even potentially capable of spoiling that right now, well, there's 2 people. One of those is going to be Kenny Powell himself, and the other is going to be that 5-0 of Josh Schaffner. Is Schaffner now slowly still, is he closing the gap in, or is he just going to ride behind his teammate? I think he wants to play spoiler. I just don't know how bad, but thank goodness that Ryan Strunk didn't bring out the 3rd caution, because that just would have been, wow, he would have been called up to the NASCAR trailer, I know for sure.
Yeah, I think that would have been the 4th caution he would have caused there. But he was racing really hard with Jose Acosta, so I definitely forgive him. That was actually quite a battle to watch. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Those guys were definitely putting their heart and soul onto the racetrack here tonight. And that is
Oh, yeah,
exactly what
absolutely.
Kenny Powell's doing here. So we're now going to have
Yep,
4 laps
it-
to go.
And here comes Josh Schaffner though on the inside. He is definitely in striking distance to make set up for that 2-lap pass. So he is just notified Kenny Powell, hey, I'm going to potentially try to come around you in the next 2 laps. But we're just going to see how Powell reacts to that, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to let him go, and that's for sure. Could we see Josh Schaffner even maybe feed the bumper? I've never seen him really do much things, kind of tactics like that. But I don't know though. I mean, he's getting really close to that back end of that 24. What will you do to win the race? I think that's what Josh Schaffner is asking himself right now.
Yeah, as we will be 3 to go next time these drivers come by the line.
Yeah, the race is definitely going to be ending
No,
here
we'll
soon.
be 2 to go.
2 laps to go here when we cross the line, and the next one after that, that's when the white flag comes out, and then we will know, well, maybe not know, but the next flag will end it after that one, but we'll have to see how this all plays out. Kenny Powell doing a great job holding them off.
Schaffner just getting a little bit too high on the wall there, just maybe a little bit of slight contact, not sure. But that did allow Powell a little bit more drive off, and that's going to make it just that much harder for Josh Schaffner to close the gap as we are now officially 2 laps to go.
A little bit of breathing room there coming from Kenny Powell. He's got to be happy about that. To kind of a little bit of a sigh of relief there. As soon we're going to have 1 lap to go as they exit turn 4. The white flag going to be waving out in the air. Next flag will end it. Can Schaffner close it in? I don't think he can. I think Kenny Powell is going to go 2 in a row here as he exits turn 2 onto the back stretch. And what a race from that G&G crew. The top 2 are G&G members here. Schaffner, one last chance. Can he get up to the back bumper? It's going to maybe be side by side. I don't think he's got enough time. No, it is side by side. Schaffner gets loose.
He burns it. He burns it. He might not.
Oh, he might lose his spot.
Third.
I think he's going to lose his spot.
He's going to lose his spot. Yes, he lost his spot. He lost at least one. That's going to put Greg Wojcinski. No, Gary Adamson. Sorry. That's going to put Gary Adamson in 3rd place. Wow, what an awesome turn of events, man. And Robert
not for Josh. It's not an awesome turn of events for Josh Schaffner.
Hey, but look, Robert Pattingale, man, solid with a 6th place finish. So Kenny Powell goes back to back, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to put Jose Acosta officially in 2nd. Gary Adamson coming out of nowhere with a 3rd place finish. Josh Schaffner in 4th. Greg Wojcinski is going to be in 5th. Robert Pattingale in 6th. Big shout out to Ron Strunk, battling through adversity, at least 2 self-spins, finishing in 7th. Brian Johnson, bad early call it a race, just couldn't close it there. He's going to finish in 8th. John Mullins is actually going to find himself 10 laps down in 9th. Kenny Thompson, some 72 laps down there in 10th. Derek Jacobs in 11th. Paul Osen in 12th. And I think that's going to do the end of the field. But wow, what a show that we saw here as Kenny Powell burns them down. We're going to take another brief word from our sponsors as we get set up for our post-race show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here for our post-race show. What a race it was. Kenny Powell going back-to-back. I think we were having problems locating Gary Adamson, so if we do get him, we will talk to him when we get the chance. But first off, we're going to talk to Mr. Jose Costa, our second place finisher. Definitely was up front a lot, all night long. Seemed like he had a little bit of problems there with long run pace, but it seems like he maybe got it worked out. How are you feeling, Jose?
I'm feeling tired, guys. I drove to Atlanta 2 hours and a half, then to Tennessee another 2.5. Race over here on time, another 4 hours, and then another hour in this track. It was crazy.
So you
It
turned a
was
lot of
crazy.
miles today, even digitally and physically.
Yes, I'm tired. I'm tired, man. Uh, Yeah, I'm just happy. I finished second. I didn't have nothing for that 50 car. Um, I don't know. The 77 and I got together. That first yellow flag, he kind of like dive bomb, but right there at the end, we were fighting. I mean, I just didn't like the fact that he was all over me before that. So, I was kind of racing him a little bit harder too. And then at the end, I don't know, man. I just kind of kept my pace, and then I guess 50 somehow spun out, and, and then I got second.
It seems
So
like,
yeah,
yeah, the iRacing gods kind of were in your favor a little bit. We also saw, I think, I think it was with Kenny Powell. You were racing with him, and it kind of saw a little bit of net code, that kind of
yeah,
turns you a little bit there. That was really unfortunate to see because I mean, I know probably from your perspective, you probably thought Kenny Powell maybe fed you the bumper, but he didn't even touch you. That was kind of really interesting from us, and it was unfortunate because you could have maybe even won the race here tonight, but still second place. You got to feel good about that, especially all the trials. I mean, you could have gotten a lot more damage out of that whenever you, like you said, we did see Ryan Strunk kind of throw it in there and set you the slide job and got you, got into your bumper. But one thing about this place also, different braking, I'd say times. When you say everybody kind of breaks a little bit different here at this racetrack, what was some of the harder parts on this track for you?
I think it was turn 3 and 4 was more difficult than than turn 1 and 2. Um, and then yeah, the breaking point from different drivers was kind of like I was trying to figure it out, which one was breaking where. And obviously, when I was ahead, they were probably breaking later because they were getting into my bumper. So I was just trying to manage that situation basically. I did went to the pit. I did some tire adjustment a little bit, and that definitely helped me out at the end. That's why I was keeping up with the 50 at one point because that tire change did help a lot. Um, but yeah, I mean, tough track, man. I'm just glad that I finished second.
Yeah, definitely a very tough track, and you did. I think your adjustments were successful because I know in the beginning of this race we saw you were really quick in the short run, but then the long run it seemed like you were struggling. But it seemed like you did, fix that, and glad to see that. You know what to do next time, I guess. I'm sure you're glad to see New Hampshire in the rearview mirror, Pocono coming up next week. How are you feeling about that one?
Um, Again, it's a new car. I don't think I have driven with this car in Pocono before, so it's basically a new thing for everybody. So I guess practice, you know, is gonna be the key.
That it will, man. Definitely practice. I mean, and I've heard a lot of guys even say it's even more like a road course in a lot of ways because of those next gen cars. Having to do the shifting and things like that, and using a little bit even more braking. And the cars being wider, it's harder to get through turn two side by side. So can't wait to see what that looks like for sure. But who can we give a shout out to after your second place finish, man? I mean, you definitely took care of business out there tonight.
Oh man, I'm just gonna give a shout out to my mother. I know she's watching, and then my son. I'm not sure. He's probably sleeping right now. To my friend, she's right next to me. She was actually really supportive. uh, you see, and then to you guys, for great broadcast and for the league.
All right, man. Well, we definitely appreciate your time. Congratulations once again on your second place finish. You're definitely gonna be some good points for you. I know you've already gotten 2 wins on the season, so that's second place definitely going to be helping you move up the leaderboard here. Congratulations once again, and we'll talk to you next week.
Time for.
Next up, I do believe Big Al waiting for our 2 in a row winner, Kenny Powell.
Hey, Kenny Powell, this is Big Al. You got me?
I got you, Big Al.
Well, you called it. I mean, you said you believe you had a little bit something for them. So you actually qualified P2 in stages 1 and 2. I believe we were P2 as well, and you brought it home at the end. So what are you going to contribute your success to here tonight?
Just the way the race went, it definitely didn't go like I expected the last stage to go. It took, I guess, other guys racing up front. Let's see, it was the last caution that mixed things up with Brian out in front. Um, that definitely put a different characteristic to the race. And then my goal right in that scenario was to thought we were just going to I was going to follow Josh around Brian, and then we'd be 1-2, and then my plan was to save my stuff and try to get him at the end. But as it worked out, I got by him in that transaction right there, and was able to keep the lead from there out. Well, I guess Jose got in front of me, and yeah, I don't think I made contact. Yeah, I did go back and look at it. It looked like netcode, but I hate netcode, so I apologize to Jose for ruining possibly his race. But yeah, it was good. It was a lot of good hard racing. But it was definitely once I got free and out front, I felt pretty good.
Yeah, and unfortunately for you, I had just predicted that at some point in the contest you would give the bumper to Jose, and that was right about the time that you gave the bumper to Jose, net code or not. But man, it's just got to be a great feeling for you to actually be able to come out here tonight and pretty much predict where you were going to finish this thing. Brian made a very early call. He made a gamble actually, and had that caution not come out, it would have probably worked out in his favor. So, Wes, you were running right there before that last caution came out. What are you thinking? Because he's behind you guys with 10-lap fresher tires, and you got a battle Schaffner. So, are you thinking that you're going to actually be able to have a chance at that point, or you're kind of just saying, man, this is kind of not working out for me?
Uh, I didn't know what was going to happen at that point. Josh was definitely fast all night, and it was I was going to ride behind him until the end, to see if I could save enough to get around him. But then, when we had Brian behind us with fresher tires coming through, if it had gone green, he had fresher tires. It would have been, I think, all 3 of us, if not Jose, all also, and Ryan got up there too. I mean, it was an interesting mix and battle right there at the front for a while. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely
uh,
was. We were not expecting to have as much side by side racing as well as competition. I mean, you guys have definitely put on a show for the ages with even a condensed field. But yeah, nonetheless, a win's a win. Back to back. Congratulations for that. You got all of the momentum in the world going into next week. So how much pressure does this relieve for you as getting ready to go forward for the rest of the season?
uh, I don't feel any pressure. I don't know. I like racing. I like racing all the guys. I feel like the team, we put together good sets. I'll stop and pause right here. I'll beat Josh on his own set with a couple minor tweaks. So shout out to Josh. Um, thank you for that. But I think we'll bring a good set next week, and we'll run it. And I'm always hopefully up front, and we'll see if I can pull out another win there.
All right, track's going to be a little bit different. Hopefully, the results will be the same. Congratulations tonight. Before we let you go, who would you like to give a shout out to there, boss?
Yeah, absolutely. Tucson Sound Art. Thanks for what they do to make this league go. And you guys in the booth, couldn't do it without you. And like I said, my team and everybody that races here in the league. It's a great league. Appreciate it all.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your tonight's winner, Mr. Kenny Powell, as a back-to-back sweep, Atlanta and New Hampshire. As we're going into next week, Brian, I just don't know what to think.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to Pocono. Kind of the first time we've seen these cars at Pocono, but I think we could definitely make some predictions on how that's going to be. I mean, it acts almost like a road course in the super speedway, all wrapped into one. Going to see a lot of guys probably doing some bump drafting and also, trying to make sure you make the corner. One thing that we always see at Pocono is guys push each other into the corner a little bit faster than maybe the guy in front wants to go. That could be something we definitely will see. I'm expecting definitely a very exciting race. I mean, Pocono definitely the tricky triangle. They call it that for a reason. Every corner is different. Definitely looking forward to it. What a race we had here tonight. Saw a little bit of fireworks. Probably a lot more fireworks than we thought we were going to see. But it definitely did not disappoint. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that about wraps it up here for tonight's.
Hey, whoa. What about me?
I mean, you just were talking.
Well, I mean, I want thoughts on Pocono.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Big Al, before we go, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors too, as well, and as well as my assistant, Brian Britt. And Pocono, I think, is going to be very tricky because it's going to be a track where we're going and we're going to shift. And taking a 5-speed transmission to that track, I think it's just going to be a very, very unique set of circumstances, and I can't wait to see what it brings. Thank you, Brian.
I'll bring you your coffee here in a moment, but thank you, everybody. Like you said, a big shout out to Tucson Sound Art. I was going to get to that. I was going to shout out Tucson Sound Art, but definitely a great product those guys have there for sure. Looking forward to Pocono. But like I said, with that, I do believe that brings us to the conclusion. Also, shout out Cheerwine for being our title sponsor here for tonight's race, and big shout out to Kenny Pound for making everything like this happen here. Big shout out to all the guys that competed out there, and definitely showed a lot of determination. I'm sure they are probably worn out here, but make sure you tune in with us. I do believe Thursday. Go ahead and mark that down in your calendar. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The green flag will be waving for Pocono. So definitely looking forward to seeing what that's going to look like with the Butt Kicker Cup and Super Cup Series. A whole different host of drivers that usually compete in that. So make sure you tune in. And thanks everybody for watching.